American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all come down like this.
Welcome to another episode of American Timelines. I'm Amy and that's Joe.
She's Amy and I'm Joe. And we are so good looking.
All right. And
You should Google us.
no, today we are talking about 1953.
Yeah, so we took a week off, and this is my sincere apology.
Mm-hmm.
I was traveling
Yes.
back from a podcast festival called Podcast Movement in Nashville. And then after that, I hosted a 50-year-old guy birthday party for 10 50-year-old dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And they went out to the clubs in Nashville. And they got it on. 50-year-old
Birthday.
style.
Yep.
It was a 50-year-old birthday. So that said, it was hard to. Work was piled up, and I had a lot of work.
Okay,
last
nobody
week.
cares.
Nobody cares. But that's why. Sorry, we took a week off
Okay.
without notice.
So we are diving right into May of 1953.
We
today.
are, and I brought back from Ohio with me an Ale Smith Hazy 394. I'm trying. I'm not. Jury's still out on whether it's good, but May 1953. We're going to start with May 2nd,
Okay.
if you will. Your favorite thing of all things we cover. It was the 79th Kentucky Derby.
Oh, that's
Hey,
not my favorite thing.
You
about
want to
the
guess what
54.
jockey won?
Little bits.
No, the jockey. What jockey it was?
That was a jockey.
Hank Moreno.
Oh, I don't know.
He won aboard Dark Star, and they beat a Hall of Famer native dancer.
Oh.
Dark Star, just so you know, that horse was sired by Royal Gem, an Australian stallion who was imported to the United States to stand at Hermitage Stud in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
As a yearling, Dark Star was consigned to the Keeneland sales, where he was bought for $6,500 by Harry Frank Guggenheim.
Mm-hmm.
No relation to the Guggenheim Museum.
All right. What's next?
There you go. May 3rd was the very next day. And I don't know if you know this, but WTVO TV channel 17 in Rockford, Illinois began broadcasting on NBC on this day in 1953.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you tune into WTVO TV channel 17, you might see Scott Lieber. He's a divorced father of 2 sons. He grew up on a small farm in Greenwich, Ohio, home of the South Central Trojans. He earned a cross-country scholarship to Ashland, Ohio College,
What
but
are
his
you
heart wasn't
talking
into
about?
it. I'm talking about a local news broadcaster, a sports director at WTVO TV channel 17 in Rockford, Illinois. If we have a listener that's listening from Rockford, Illinois, they'll be so excited to hear me give the bio of Scott Lieber, a well-known, loved sports anchor.
All right. Next.
They'll be so excited. But
I'm
anyway,
vetoing that.
his heart wasn't into cross country, so shortly after enrolling, he left the team to devote all his energy into a future and broadcast journalism, and he called Rockford home since he was hired by WTVO in 1989. And then he was promoted as sports director in 1995. Scott Lieber, everybody.
Okay.
Excited? One time he arm wrestled Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
And Scott Lieber was quoted to say he's very shy and quiet. He's
Stop.
totally comfortable speaking in front of groups
Turn
or
it
emceeing
off.
an event. But he has no, he's shy. He's no good at parties, he said. Okay, so that's enough about that. And then May 3rd, we have our first birthday. And trust me, I've changed what I'm doing with birthdays. I'm now going to make them exciting, and I'm going to make you love them.
Mhm.
And here's how I'm doing it. May 3rd, play the birthday.
Amy hates birthdays. Amy hates birthdays.
Bruce Hall. Bruce Hall was born, American rock bassist from REO Speedwagon. Born in Champaign, Illinois, he joined the band in 1977, making an appearance on the album You Can Tune a Piano, But You Can't Tune a Fish, released the following year. He replaced Greg Philbin. That's going to be my new birthday thing. Only people who replace Greg Philbin in bands are the only birthdays I'm going to cover.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan.
Is that good?
Yep.
Unfortunately, over 5,000 artists have replaced Greg Philbin in bands. But can't you believe that was the name of an album? You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
I don't care.
Can't tune a fish. Get it?
With all the horror in the world, what difference does it make?
You know what? There is a lot of horror, and I'm going to take another sip of this delicious hazy IPA by AleSmith.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not the best.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drink it. And then May 4th, 1953,
Mm-hmm.
the Pulitzer Prize for Literature was awarded. You want to guess what author won it?
1953.
Yep.
John Steinbeck.
Nope.
Oh.
Here's a hint. It rhymes with Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, Ernest Hemingway.
Yes, for The Old Man in the Sea, which I think we already kind of talked about.
Yes.
But according to Pointer.org, Pointer, Mr. Hemingway's first Pulitzer Prize was this one, $500.
Mm-hmm.
Was awarded because the judges found The Old Man in the Sea the most distinguished fiction published in book form during the year by an American author, preferably dealing with American life. He had written a bunch of stuff that weren't American before.
Okay.
And this is American Timelines, where we talk about American Pulitzer Prizes.
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
Sometimes.
But I was not aware that they also gave money for the Pulitzer Prize. Were you aware of that? Or
No, I don't think I was. Sorry.
Now I think it's more like $15,000, but then it was $500. But in 1953, $500 is equal to $70 billion today.
No, it's not true.
Or something. And that brings us to May 6th.
Okay.
See, we're cruising along because you wouldn't let me go into detail on Scott Leber. Scott Leber, sorry. Sorry, Scott. Scott asked me to really plug his career on this. He's paying me off.
No.
May 6, 1953, Major League Baseball, St. Louis Browns, Alva Bobo Holloman, in his first start as a starting pitcher, he no-hit the visiting Philadelphia A's. They got no hits. 6-0, became the first player to do so in their first start since 1900.
Wow.
He pitched in 22 games that season for the Browns before being sold to a minor league team. And then he spent the rest of 53 and 54 in the minor leagues before retiring from active play. After retiring, he ran an advertising agency and worked as a scout until his grisly death in 1987.
No.
Well, he did die. He is dead.
Yes, but it was not grisly.
It might have been grisly. You don't know. It's an all-death grizzly.
No.
Well, anyway, so isn't that crazy? He did that amazing feat, and then he just retired because it wasn't very good anymore.
Yeah.
And then May 7th, 1953, Can opens at Schubert Theater for 892 performances. Music and lyrics by Cole Porter and book by Abe Burrows. The story...
Never seen it.
Do you even know what it's about?
No.
The story concerns the showgirls of the Montmartre dance halls during the 1890s, and I looked up how to pronounce that. French dance halls during the 1890s. It's all about. Nobody likes it. The original Broadway production ran for over 2 years. The 1954 West End production was also a success, and this one had Gwen Verdon in only her second Broadway role, and choreographer Michael Kidd won Tony Awards, and it was praised, but both the score and book received tepid reviews, and revivals generally have not fared well. Nobody likes Can anymore. Yeah. So if you are at a summer stock theater and they're going to do Can, tell them to fuck off. Right?
Yes.
It's not going to sell to the Blue Hairs.
No, they're not going to want to go see that shit.
Yeah, I love Blue Hairs. And then May 8th, 1953, WIPB TV Channel 49 in Muncie, Indiana begins broadcasting.
Okay.
And just so you know, WIPB, you've probably never heard of it in Muncie, Indiana, have you?
No.
Their claim to fame is having been the station that The Joy of Painting originated on, a half-hour art program hosted by
Bob Ross.
Aww. Now, it kind of originated there. It did have one season on WNVC in Falls Church, Virginia, but that doesn't count because fuck Falls Church, Virginia. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Oh, yeah. Fuck Falls Church, Virginia. If you're listening from Falls Church, Virginia, please stop listening to our podcast. You are not welcome.
No, that's
to
not.
Listen to it.
That is not.
Do you think anybody's listening from Falls Church, Virginia?
Probably not.
I don't think so either. If you are, tweet us at History for Jerks and show us a picture of your grandparents.
No, we don't need to see
pooping.
it. All right.
And then on May 10th, 1953, KCBD TV Channel 11 in Lubbock, Texas begins broadcasting.
Why are we doing this?
And currently on that channel, anchors Karen McRae and Abner
Wait a
Uresti
minute.
are the longest-running news anchor duo in America.
Wait a minute.
Over 40 years of broadcasting together, and they are best friends off the set.
Why are we doing this? How come now there's 3 of those now?
It's a new feature
I don't like
on
it.
American Timelines. It's when new television stations begin broadcasting. I think because we're right in the era of when TV started broadcasting everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like
It doesn't excuse your behavior.
It's on the websites that I'm looking for information on.
Mhm.
In fact, May of 1953 was rather boring. And mostly the only news is new stations broadcasting.
Oh,
So I
okay.
had to dive
you had
deep
to
into.
jazz it up a little bit.
But it is notable when I fall into this that Karen McKay and Abner Uresti, is a man and woman, they're the longest running news anchor duo in America, over 40 years of broadcasting together, and they're best friends off the air.
They are?
She is a seven-time winner of the Anson Jones Award, selected by the Texas Medical Association. She's won the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award 3 times and earned an Emmy nomination for Best News Documentary. And she's a recipient of the Lone Star Excellence in My Market Award a few years back. She's co-hosted the Children's Miracle Network telethon since '84. She's helped raise more than $12 million for the Children's Hospital at University Medical Center. So you're thinking she's better than the guy, right? You're thinking she's better than this Abner fella. But Abner has also received numerous awards for excellence in education reporting, including statewide awards from the Texas State Teachers Association.
Mm-hmm.
You like that? The Association of Texas Professional Educators and the Texas Parent Teacher Association. In addition, Abner has been recognized numerous times by the Texas AP Broadcaster Division for his work at News Channel 11. He served on several boards, including the Libraries Board.
God, this is really
the
boring.
Lubbock Area Foundation. I really want to see how long you let me talk about Abner Uresti.
I just can't anymore.
But he's a strong advocate for education. I thought
It's
you liked
fine,
that.
but come on.
And he really cares about at-risk kids. All right, on May 11th, now it's going to get juicy, all right? You ready for it to get juicy?
Mm-hmm.
May 11th, 1953, a tornado kills 114 people in Waco, Texas.
Wow. That's pretty
Innocent
good.
people who have done nothing wrong, $39 million in damage. These people died. A deadly series of at least 33 tornadoes hit at least 10 different U.S. states from May 9th to 11th, 1953. Tornadoes appeared daily from Minnesota in the north to Texas in the south. Daily from those 3 days. The strongest and deadliest tornado was a powerful F5 tornado that struck Waco, causing 114 of the 144 deaths in the outbreak.
Wow, that's a lot.
Alongside the 1902 Goliad tornado, it was the deadliest tornado in Texas history and is the 11th deadliest tornado in U.S. history. The winds demolished more than 600 houses, 1,000 other structures, and over 2,000 vehicles. 597 injuries occurred, and many survivors had to wait more than 14 hours for rescue.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't tweet about it then.
Right. You had to wait.
It struck during the heart of the downtown area at the end of the workday, so many people were caught unaware of the impending severe weather. 30 people were killed when a 6-story furniture store collapsed, while 5 others were killed in their cars. It was a massive disaster. Are you happy now? We went from do-gooder news anchors to people dying in a tragedy.
I guess I am.
You are happy about it.
I guess so.
And then now to sports. May 13th, 1953, the New York Giants' Willie Mays and Darrell Spencer, 2 different guys, each hit 2 home runs and a triple in one game, the same game. How about that? And then I'll move on because you hate sports. May 18th, 1953, American Jacqueline Cochran. How about this for some women's kick-ass history? Kick-ass women in history. You ever heard of American woman Jacqueline Cochran?
American woman.
Stay away from me. Well, on May 18th, 1953, Jacqueline Cochran became the first woman to break the sound barrier.
Oh, that's cool.
She pioneered women's aviation as one of the most prominent racing pilots of her generation.
Okay.
She set numerous records and was the first woman to break the sound barrier.
Okay.
She was the wartime head of the Women Air Force Service Pilots, other known as WASP, along with Nancy Love. They employed about 1,000 civilian American women in a non-combat role to ferry planes from factories to port cities, and was later a sponsor of the Mercury 13 Women Astronaut Program. How about that?
How about that?
She did all kinds of other kick-ass shit. She was known as the Speed Queen. So how about that? You never knew that happened. You never knew about her. And I am a feminist teaching you about women.
You are.
Now you know a little bit more about kick-ass women, thanks to me.
Yep.
And then on May 19th, 1953, a nuclear explosion in Nevada, fallout in St. George, happened. It was a test. The test device, codenamed Hamlet, was detonated atop a 300-foot tower. The device produced a yield of 32 kilotons.
Wow.
I don't know why that's news. And then May 23rd, 1953, WHIZ Whiz TV Channel 18 in Zanesville begins broadcasting. And currently, the news anchor and producer is named Carolyn Flegel.
Oh.
Flegel.
I like that.
Yeah, Carolyn Flegel. You know, she left after 6 years to start a family. Carolyn Flegel returned to Whiz TV in 2006.
Right. Stop.
She's currently an anchor and producer.
You're
Carolyn
Flegel.
Flegel.
You're starting that shit again.
Carolyn Flegel, y'all. She grew up in Kettering, Ohio, a suburb of Dayton. She graduated from Bowling Green State University
I think
in
we
Bowling
jumped
Green,
the
Ohio.
shark.
You and I went to BGSU, though. That's where we went. Falcons. Isaac Azuba.
I think we've jumped the shark, honey.
Okay, one more little thing about Carolyn Flegel. She enjoys reading, going on walks, and spending time with her two sons.
That's...
You don't care about Carolyn Flegel? All right, May 25th, 1953. How about this? All right, I'm just going to skip this one. It's the first PBS station ever broadcast.
That's all you have to say about it, though. You don't have to read that paragraph that's all this
Yeah, but I found all this stuff about Carolyn Flegel. Are you saying Carolyn Flegel's garbage? May 25th, the first non-commercial education television station in Houston, Texas, was established by Dr. John C. Schwartzwalder.
Okay.
And I got on, really quickly, I just went on Ancestry, and I downloaded Dr. John Schwartzwalder's entire family tree, and I'm going to go through it right now.
No.
I traced them back to the 1400s, and I'm going to just read it all.
Stop it.
I'm just kidding. May 25th, 1953, Braves, the Atlanta Braves, I think it was the Atlanta Braves, might not have been Atlanta then. Max Sirkont struck out a record 8 Reds in a row. And people care about that.
Some people do.
Here's a quote from 1950. Sports writer Jim Cooper wrote on June 12th, "Folks are saying that 6-foot Mark Sirkont of the Sacramento Solons is the handiest man tossing the pill in the Pacific Coast League." I just wanted to say that quote in a old baseball voice.
Old-timey voice.
You like that? Anyway, one more thing about Max Sirkont. Max was just a nickname, and he had a real fondness for Polish sausage. I looked that up. So just so you know. And then May 29th, 1953, at 11:30 a.m. on May 29th, Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, a Sherpa of Nepal, became the first
Climb Mount Everest.
explorers. How'd you know that? You know their names?
Yep. Sir Edmund Hillary.
To reach the summit of Mount Everest.
Yep.
Which at 29,035 feet above sea level is the highest point on Earth.
Yes.
They ended up having to gnaw each other's arms
No,
off.
they did not.
Yeah, they did.
You're
Okay.
telling stories and lies.
They were part of the 9th British expedition to Everest, led by John Hunt. Not Mike Hunt,
Stop.
but John Hunt.
All right.
And now here's the cool thing about it. While Hillary claimed that he and Norgay reached the summit together, Norgay claimed that Hillary was up there first. But however it happened, the men remained lifelong friends.
Okay.
I have a question about Sherpas, though. Do you know anything about Sherpas? Like, how much do you know about Sherpas?
They live on the mountain and they walk people up the mountain.
Yeah, so people who are mountain climbers pay them, right?
Yeah.
To just
lead them up the
carry
mountain.
all their shit? Or
No,
they
they
carry
lead
their
them
own
up
shit?
the mountain.
They just help them?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
So why would Edward Hillary get any credit? Why when is it just
The Sherpa?
the Sherpa?
Racism.
Yeah, because they are people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a legend that a Buddha god lived on the top of Mount Everest,
Mm-hmm.
and Norgay said he had wanted to worship there. So, and he told everybody that he left an offering up on the top of the mountain, a chocolate bar, biscuits, and candy on the summit.
Oh.
How about that?
How about that?
And then I'm almost to you, and you can take over, and I'll never talk about broadcasting stations or Carolyn Flegel ever again. Carolyn Flegel, yeah, but Carolyn Flegel might listen to this.
No. Keep going.
She's a good-looking woman. May 30th, Indianapolis 500 that year was labeled the hottest 500 due to high temperatures. Bill Vukovich won his first of 2 consecutive Indy 500 victories, but Carl Scarborough dropped out of the race and then later died of heat prostration.
Wow.
So during his first pit stop, he felt sick from the heat and fumes at the race.
Mm-hmm.
After a fuel spill during the pit stop, a minor fire broke out involving the side of his car. Scarborough climbed over the pit wall and collapsed onto a chair. Bob Scott replaced Scarborough on the track. Bob Scott's a guy I went to school with. Scott's own car had experienced mechanical difficulties earlier in the race, but he finished the race for Scarborough in 12th place. Scarborough was taken to Speedway's hospital, where he died. His temperature was recorded as 104 degrees on admission to the hospital. Physicians there unsuccessfully performed open heart massage before Scarborough was pronounced dead. Can you imagine open heart massage? Like just massaging your heart?
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah, I know.
The temperature was 91 degrees in Indianapolis that day. 9 drivers were treated for heat-related illness.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Driver Pat Flaherty suffered minor injuries when he fainted and crashed into a wall later in the race. The track temperature reached 130 degrees.
Oh.
And then even Chet Miller, another racer, died in a crash during a practice run before the start of the race. I don't understand racing. Like, if it's that fucking hot, just call it off.
Seriously.
What are you racing for? Why are you risking your life?
Why are you in a hurry?
Nobody's going to remember who fucking won.
No.
What's the hurry?
Yeah, really.
And I guess I'll just go ahead and skip May 31st, 1953, when Channel 38 in St. Petersburg, Tampa, Florida, did its first broadcast.
Oh, you are you?
Yeah, I'm not even going to talk about that. Their broadcast began with a dedicating ceremony featuring Samuel G. Johnson, the mayor of St. Petersburg, and Curtis Hickson, the mayor of Tampa, and Herbert Brown, the mayor of Clearwater. I won't even mention that.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Towpath Murders.
Say this again, the what?
The Towpath Murders.
Towpath, like T-O-E-P-A-T-H?
T-O-W.
Oh, like towing.
P-A-T-H.
Towpath. T-O-W-P-A-T-H. Is that all one word?
Yeah.
The Towpath Murder.
Now, this is in jolly old England again.
Oh, no. This is not
Not
no
an
longer American
American.
Timelines. This
Nope.
is a British Timelines episode.
Again.
We need to get some British guests.
Yeah. So around this time, Queen Elizabeth's getting ready to have her coronation.
Yeah, we've been
right?
talking about that. This is the first year of the Queen.
But there was in the UK, in the area of Teddington.
UK stands for United Kingdom. Teddington. I don't know where that is. Do you?
Teddington. It's Middlesex. In Middlesex?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
If you're from Teddington, tweet us at History for Jerks.
But
Tell us where it is.
idyllic little town, and it all of a sudden news comes across that these 2 local teenage girls had been brutally murdered
Oh, no.
on the picturesque towpath by Teddington's Loch.
Oh, no. That's a lake. That's a lake. A loch is a lake. I know that.
So, both best friends, Barbara Songhurst, who was 16, and Christine Reed, who was 18.
The lesson here is don't be best friends.
They lived in Teddington and sometimes rode along the leafy, meandering towpath at weekends.
Huh.
They enjoyed carefree adventures, cycling in an era free of congested vehicles, and took the same familiar route back home on the night they were attacked on Sunday, May 31st.
Oh, I also love carefree adventures. But
During-
this is sad.
During the day before their terrible fates, the
Yeah.
girls cycled several times along the towpath stretching from Richmond to Teddington, where they stopped to chat to some boys who were camping on the route.
Boys are bad news.
John Wells, a witness, informed the police that the girls arrived at a camp at around 8 p.m. and then left at 11 p.m. They had then been seen cycling along the dark towpath at around 11:30, which, although sounds a little late for such young girls, does show how safe the tranquil area was perceived by its residents.
People probably didn't care because they
Right.
were like, oh, nothing ever happens there.
So the following day, Monday, June 1st.
Oh, the same day that David Berkowitz was born.
Oh,
Boom.
that's a good one.
Murder.
That's a good
Murder.
one.
You love it.
All right, yes. The first of the young victims was found. The attack on Barbara Songhurst had taken place near Teddington Loch, where the scene of the horrific crime featured trampled grass and some bloodstained daisies. A trail of blood led along the towpath where the
gross.
killer had taken the victim's body and thrown her into the water. Whatever the true circumstances of the attack on both females and who was attacked first, there is no doubt of its brutality. The 16-year-old's body was found 2 miles down the Thames near St. Catherine's Convent in Twickenham.
Oh, Twickenham.
She exhibited terrible injuries caused by a heavy blow to the cheek and a fractured skull, along with 3 deep stab wounds in her back.
Oh.
It was also confirmed that the teenage victim had been raped.
Oh, gross. Rape's not fun.
Pathologists indicated that the sexual attack had been carried out by what was bizarrely described at the time as an expert rapist, or certainly
What?
a man who had possibly committed such crimes before. The investigation into this terrible crime began the next day. So then they dredged the river for evidence.
I don't get how you could tell someone is
I don't know. The evidence led them to believe
expert.
that.
Oh.
So they dredged the river for evidence.
Dredged the river, figure out who did it.
2 pairs of abandoned shoes and socks were found during the search, but still no sign of Christine Reed. Then on June 2nd...
Oh, the same day that Vidar Johansson, Norwegian saxophonist, was born?
Yes.
So was Cornel West. He was born that day, too.
Oh, cool. Her bicycle was found on the river mud 100 yards upstream from the murder site.
Okay.
And then on Friday, June 5th...
Oh, the same day that Denmark adopted a new constitution?
Yes.
That same day?
Amid these coronation celebrations, where 20,000 people attended the Teddington River pageant. So there's this big...
Yeah, all these people
there.
Coming.
And the police are still looking for Reed's body.
Oh, so not going to let people there, right? Surely
they're
block it off.
They're there, and then there's these loudspeakers at the event announcing to the bigger than expected crowd, "We are not looking for bodies. We are only here for the pageant."
Nothing to see here.
Yep,
no murder here, I swear.
So then the next day, which was Saturday, June 6th.
Oh, the same day that former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Greece, Demetrius Avramopoulos, was born?
Yes.
That same day?
Christine's body was found floating near Glover's Island, less than a mile from Richmond Bridge.
Oh.
Similar to Barbara's injuries, Christine's skull had also been fractured, along with 6 stab wounds in her chest.
Jeez.
She had also been raped. The pathologist stated that the attacks had been the work of a maniac, and that the assailant was a monster as strong as an ape.
You got to be a maniac to do that to somebody.
Yeah. The intensive and grueling search in the river's mud failed to reveal a credible murder weapon, or, for that matter, any sign of Barbara's bicycle. It was assumed that the killer may have used it to escape the scene. Initial thoughts were that the double rape and murder had been carried out by 2 men.
Oh, they thought there's 2 suspects.
Well, because they're both... How can you
do
rape
that
and
to
murder
2 of them?
one girl?
You have to incapacitate one.
Right.
And so, I'm thinking, you either have to be a crazy, like a nut or lunatic, or you got to be pushed to the edge. Like, maybe they were just tested to the limits.
What do you mean tested to the limits?
Like,
what
maybe just over the edge. Maybe stress.
Oh, give me a break. White men always get these excuses for bad behavior.
Hey, how do you know he's white?
Give me a break. Of course he was.
Yeah, stupid white man.
All right.
Fuck you guys.
So Duncan Webb, a reporter for the News of the World at the time, happened to have been in Teddington on the night of the attack.
Oh, really?
And he usually reported the crime, but this time found himself to be questioned as a potential suspect.
Oh, what?
Because standard police procedure relating to crimes of rape meant that any man within the crime vicinity had to be considered as a suspect and investigated.
It should be.
So the reporter,
Check their dicks.
He suggests to the police that the attacks, rather having been committed by 2 men, were more likely to have been carried out by 1 assailant.
The reporter said that?
Mm-hmm. And he said that was based on the evidence that the similar injuries found on both victims indicated a single MO by the killer. The notion that 2 men responsible for the rape and murder of 2 girls in the same place and sharing the same MO was, as Webb suggested, less plausible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So once the theory
Even though he's a suspect, I agree with it.
Yeah, once the theory of 1 man being responsible was given credence, what still couldn't be explained was how 1 man managed to attack both girls at the same time when one of the girls would have been free to run away.
Well, it had to incapacitate him.
So then a genius notion struck Webb. Perhaps the killer had thrown the knife at 1 victim.
Yeah.
The idea would go some way to explain the wounds on her back.
Oh.
Webb's theories were taken on board to the extent that police made inquiries at local circuses and various theaters to establish if any knife-throwing entertainer had been in Teddington on the night of murders.
Well, I mean, that sounds ridiculous.
I know.
Like, what are the chances? But I don't think anybody could just throw a knife and hit someone.
Right.
Like,
you have to be
I don't
good
know
at
how
that.
to throw a knife and hit somebody.
No.
I'm willing to try, but
No,
I bet
I
I
don't think you
can't do
should.
it.
So
we want to practice it in the driveway real quick. Take a break from the podcast. I'll throw some knives at your back and see if I can hit, and then we'll get back on and finish.
So the other thing that they
stop.
No, I'm not. The other thing that they were saying that he had to probably be a local man, because to be able to wander around at night and not be noticed.
Well, and also know that there's going to be people riding around alone.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Man, I don't know.
They look further afield. They revisit a vicious case of rape of a 14-year-old girl on Oxshott Heath in Surrey, 8 miles from Teddington.
Yeah.
That attack took place a week before Christine and Barbara were killed.
Only a week? So,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. Compare the shit, man.
It had been reported at the time that a man had been terrifying women and girls in open spaces on the Surrey side of the river. On June 17th...
Oh, the same day that Man Against Crime was on TV, also known as Follow That Man, starring Ralph Bellamy, one of the first television programs about private eyes on CBS and the Dumont Television Network and NBC. It was one of the first few television programs to be simulcast on more than one network.
Oh, so that's all you could watch.
Yeah,
you had no choice that day.
They were like, you all want to watch this
Everybody's
crime show.
watching this.
Everybody wants to see Ralph fucking Bellamy and his beautiful package.
So a woman
ass.
by the name of Mrs. Birch was sexually assaulted in Richmond Park on that date.
Mrs. Birch?
Yeah. A police patrol car later picked up a man walking aimlessly in Weybridge, some 11 miles away from the scene of the assault. 22-year-old Alfred Charles Whiteway was taken to the police station, but released after he convincingly conducted himself.
Oh, but that's him. That's him. That's him.
He was also offered an apology for having been picked up.
Oh, no. They picked him up. They had the guy. I'm convinced.
You convinced? Okay.
I'm convinced just by his name. What did you say his name was?
Alfred Charles Whiteway.
Oh, definitely did it. That's the name of a killer.
So the following June 18th.
Yeah, the following day, right?
Yeah.
Which was the same day that, giving new meaning to the term seventh inning stretch, the Red Sox scored 17 runs in one inning against the Detroit Tigers. That same day?
Yes. When an officer named P.C. Kosh was cleaning patrol cars in Kensington Police Station,
P.C. Kosh.
He happened to find a hatchet shoved under the rear seat of one car.
Of one of the patrol cars?
Yeah. Not thinking too much about how it got there, he put it in his locker before leaving the station for the day. But then...
Hey, free machete.
He became ill. So then he was off for work for 5 days.
Oh, my goodness.
So then he comes back.
Flub. Major flub.
Takes the hatchet home and uses it for domestic chores.
No.
So this careless act...
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I know.
He's using a murder weapon for household chores.
Yep.
And now I'm going to bring it back.
So then on June 28th...
Oh, the same day that Operation Neptune was on television. It's a show that follows the adventures of a submarine captain named Commander Bill Hollister, otherwise known as Captain Neptune, as he battles undersea forces that same day?
Yes. Nearly a month since of the vicious murders, a passing motorist stopped for a male hitchhiker. Something about the passenger reminded the observant driver about the mystery man wanted in connection with the Oxshott rape. Unsettled by the incident, the driver went to police with his concerns.
Yeah.
The hitcher was picked up and charged with the Oxshott rape. Placed
Really?
in an identity parade.
Just because that got suspicion?
Well,
originally?
he was placed in an identity parade, and Mrs. Birch identified him as the man who had assaulted her in Richmond Park.
Okay.
The identified man was Alfred Whiteway.
It was him.
Who had been questioned and released.
And
yes.
he's the one who left the knife in the car.
Yes.
Car.
So Detective Hannum was certain that they had their killer.
Yep, they got him.
But during the investigation, it was discovered that murder suspect Whiteway was closely associated with victim Barbara Songhurst's family.
Oh.
Barbara's sister-in-law, June, had once been Whiteway's girlfriend.
Furthermore,
Furthermore, June's sister, Josephine Knight, had attended school with Whiteway and had once hoped to marry him.
Yeah, but Josephine Knight's kind of a bitch. We can't trust her, right?
More bizarrely, the 16-year-old victim's older brother, Danny, knew the suspected killer well and defended his character to the police.
Danny defended him?
Yeah.
Fuck Danny.
Barbara's brother was adamant that Whiteway would never have hurt his sister. June also
maybe.
insisted that Whiteway was a kind and considerate man, even though they were well aware he had a strange habit of carrying a knife.
Really?
The family's view of Whiteway was that he was a decent boy and a gentleman.
I would think that wouldn't be strange in 1953 to carry a knife.
Well, he did own this Gurkha knife. And
what's a Gurkha knife?
It's a certain kind of knife.
Like a big, is it
big knife?
Like a big
yeah.
and gross?
And it soon became apparent to the detective that the suspect was not only a keen knife-throwing enthusiast, but that his exceptional skills in this area meant he could split a matchbox from 30 yards.
Split a matchbox from 30 yards?
But another far more important fact came to light when it was revealed that Whiteway could hit a chalk line on a tree with a hatchet from up to 40 yards away.
Oh, if you could do that, then he definitely could stab a girl in the back to incapacitate her.
And when he was asked where the hatchet was that he threw at trees, he replied that he kept it in a cupboard at home, but they searched and they couldn't find it
because it was at the other guy's house and he was using it for chores.
Detective asked about it again, and then Whiteway admitted that Kingston police had it after he pushed it under the seat of the police car when he was picked up at Weybridge. So then they race over and they discover that P.C. Koch used the axe for weeks for chopping firewood, unwittingly destroyed any forensic evidence due to his fingerprints.
Oh, no.
And
P.C. Koch, you idiot.
The blade had also become blunted.
But I bet it was a good use, though, cutting that firewood.
Even though the forensic evidence was now not possible to be found on the primary murder exhibit, its reappearance brought about an unexpected reaction. When the detective placed the hatchet on the table in front of Whiteway, he recognized it to the extent that he even complained it had been bashed about and blunted as if it was a priceless possession of his. And when Whiteway was told bloodstains had been found in an eyelet in the seam of his shoes, the effect on him was one of angry resignation. Confronted with his own weapon and news of forensic evidence, the dawning reality that he'd been caught prompted Whiteway to utter, "You know bloody well it was me. You know bloody well I done it. What a bloody mess.
Well.
I'm mental. I must have a fucking woman. I can't stop myself."
I can't stop myself.
In a chilling matter-of-fact attitude, Whiteway described how he attacked and killed both girls on the night of May 31st, making out he initially only saw one and hitting her with the hatchet before noticing her friend further down the towpath who was screaming. I nipped over and shut her up. Whiteway's emotionally detached demeanor, dismissive of the cruelty and savagery he inflicted on the two innocent girls, clearly indicated a sociopathic mind. But was he mad? As far as Whiteway was concerned, it was his mental state at fault, as he complained to the police that the doctors wouldn't do anything to help him, possibly hoping or supposing that a jury would bring about a verdict of diminished responsibility.
Diminished responsibility, that's a thing.
It's insanity.
Because he's nuts. Yeah.
Looking at the paper in front of him, he shouted, "I can't stop it. Give us it. I'll sign it." So then they go to trial.
So that accent wasn't as good as last time.
Oh.
But it was okay, but just you were so much invested in the
Well, they go to trial, and all this shit happens, and then it's done, and then Whiteway, they find him guilty.
It's too much for you.
I'm done. Yeah,
too much work.
Yeah, they find him guilty, and then he's hanged.
He's hanged
by the legendary hangman Albert Pierpoint at Wadsworth Prison on December 22nd, 1953.
Wait, he was hanged the same day that Jack Dunn III officially turns over the name Orioles to the Major League Baseball St. Louis Browns, that his family had successfully operated the International League Orioles franchise for years in Baltimore, Maryland, and now because the St. Louis Browns relocated to Baltimore, and voila, we now have the Baltimore Orioles that same day?
Yes.
You don't care about that?
No.
So that was the story
of the Towpath Murders.
The Towpath Murders. That was pretty good. That was pretty interesting, I thought.
I'm just tired.
You're an older lady.
We can't do this unless it's Sunday or Saturday, I think.
And it's Monday. We're recording on a Monday.
But it's hard when I get up at 5 in the morning.
You should not have gotten up at 5.
All right.
That was a mistake.
I have to go be at work, honey.
Well, you can just stroll in any time when there's no kids, I think.
It's not true. I'm in a meeting this morning.
Well, we'll save that.
7:30.
We'll save that for a domestic argument. Our listeners don't want to hear us complain.
No, it's time to get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Thank you for listening to American Timelines by History for Jerks.
Thank you for listening.
Sorry we took a week off, but you're probably fine with that. What nail through? Listen to Matt Truman Ego Trip take over. Take over this podcast from here on out. Lock us out. Man, that guy, Matt Truman.
And thanks to the challenge, baby, I'll blow it. I can sing you a song, but you already know it. And you know it's okay if you think it's a shame, because a record pump on me by my cocaine. The ladies of the 80s, they've been treating me fine, and so I don't really care if I'm a few years behind. I stood in the studio without an idea. I'm living on royalty checks from Korea, and the record company buys my cocaine. 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 Down.
Matt Truman Ego Trip is the greatest band of all time. Buy their music.